Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Vanessa Guillen case, as well as some other cases that I've been hearing from several of you about that has opened my awareness to, what in the hey diddle diddle is going on at Fort Hood. Now, y'all, again, just to recap very quickly, Vanessa Guillen was stationed at Fort Hood. She sadly went missing, and this has turned out, of course, that she was bludgeoned to death by Aaron Robinson. Now, Robinson enlisted the help of his girlfriend, Cicely Aguilar, to destroy and dispose of poor Vanessa. Now, Robinson ended up taking his own life before he could be apprehended, and Aguilar is sitting in jail where she belongs, looking like a you-know-what with her orange hair and orange jumpsuit. Now, President Donald Trump said recently at a press conference that the Army is going to report on what it knows about the disappearance and death of Vanessa. And President Trump did say that he is going to make some of that information available. I am very curious to see what story the Army sells to him and what version of that makes it to us. U.S. Army officials also said that they're going to do an independent review of the command climate there at that base. Secretary of the Army Ryan McCarthy, he said that he was going to be directing the review and that it would be conducted by an independent panel of congressional representatives, and that the League of United Latin American Citizens was going to be working in collaboration with them. They're going to be looking at several different things, claims and data about harassment, assault, discrimination, all these things that we're seeing, this plethora of evidence coming to the forefront for everyone to shine a light on and be like, what? So in a totally different press conference, U.S. Representative Sylvia Garcia said that McCarthy had also agreed to back calls for the Department of Defense to conduct an Inspector General's investigation into the death of Vanessa. Now, an attorney representing the Guillen family, Natalie Kawam, she is hoping to find support amongst, number one, President Donald Trump and members of Congress for the I Am Vanessa Guillen bill. Now, if they can get this passed, what this is going to do, and I think that this is amazing, and I really hope that this goes through, this is going to allow active duty service members to file claims, the same thing that we're seeing, harassment, discrimination, sexual assault, all this stuff, with a third-party agency, instead of having to go to their line of command. And honestly, again, a lot of people out there, myself included in this, had no idea to the extent of how much this goes on. And hearing this bill that she's trying to pass, I'm just like, I can't believe that wasn't already a thing. You know what I mean? Because we're seeing here where I'm like, well, what happens when your line of command are the ones doing this stuff to you? Nothing. Now, y'all, also another silver lining to this absolutely tragic situation is the I Am Vanessa Guillen movement. It's hashtag I Am Vanessa Guillen. A lot of people are coming forward with their own stories of harassment, assault, awful things that they have endured, and just like Vanessa, we're scared to come forward. We're afraid of being thrown out of the military, retaliation, you name it. And so this has been going on. Again, I try and find silver linings in things, and this is not to negate the horrible thing that was done to Vanessa, but I'm also like, wow, look at what she is doing from the other side, I guess you could say. This has prompted massive change, and what we have to hope for is that the spotlight that's being shown down right now, which she's having a hand in doing, is something that can create a permanent change so that this doesn't happen to somebody else. Now, y'all, I've been hearing from so many of y'all in the comment sections and emails. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Christina. You've been really throwing me some stuff to look into, and I've just been like, I had no idea this stuff was going on out there. Y'all, a lot of it looks like a coincidence, and I'm not trying to even sit here and be like, well, I'm there, I know what's going on, but y'all, there's only so many coincidences. Let's be honest. So let's look at a few of those. So first of all, y'all, let's talk about Krista Martinez. This was a young lady who basically started the Find Vanessa movement. Now, she had been stationed at Fort Hood at one point, and she was very vocal about the stuff that goes on there. When she saw what happened to Vanessa, she was like, no. And she became very vocal about helping the family find Vanessa, and also putting out there, yeah, this is not just a thing. Vanessa wasn't making this up. This happens. There's bad stuff going on out there, and people need to be brought to justice. Y'all, she died in a car wreck. This one I was like, oh no. Really? I mean, and again, I'm not trying to sit here and spark a, oh, conspiracy this or whatever, but I was just like, that's really convenient. You know, bless her heart. I mean, my God, she came out there, spoke her mind, and again, was such an instigator of positive change. And it's just a tragedy to see that she's gone already. Now, y'all also remember this other soldier whose remains were found while they were looking for Vanessa. I mean, this is a thing. I cannot believe that there's this many bodies around this area that it's like, oh, well, we found another one. I mean, really? Now, y'all, this is Gregory Morales. And like I said, his skeletal remains were found. He had gone missing like a while ago. And the tragic thing, I mean, it's obviously tragic, but one of the tragic aspects of it is he was like 2 days away. I mean, he was like in the process of leaving the army, going back home. He was going to be going to technical school, and he just vanishes, you know, out of thin air. And his family's like, this isn't right. Like, he didn't desert. And so essentially the army is like, well, no, he's a deserter. He's AWOL. And so because of that, you know, they were just like, yeah, sorry, you know, they weren't really even that helpful and giving the family any information. Well, his remains were found. Okay, so there's that. Because he was listed as a deserter, the army's like, well, we're not going to give him, you know, a proper military burial type situation. Now, another situation with Brandon Rosecrans is just another unsolved tragedy. He was shot to death on May 18th. And he was, you know, days away from turning 28 years old. So young. Now, he was found dead by a gunshot like 13 miles away from his post. So around 10:17 a.m., police received a phone call, and Brandon was found on a residential street in a town called Harker Heights. Now, just a few minutes later, the fire department receives a phone call about a burning vehicle. Now, this vehicle will turn out to be Brandon's. Now, his father said, look, like a week prior to all this happening, Brandon was attacked at gunpoint. So, of course, you know, he's not sure if these are the same people. But again, I'm just like, you know, whether it was or not, I'm like, what is going on out there? Why is this a thing? Why is this happening? And I mean, not just murders, but I mean, violent stuff. Cars setting on fire, people being set on fire. I mean, why is this all happening around this area? Now, there's another person that y'all sent me some information on, and this one actually happened back in 2017, but with the little bit that I could find on this one, and again, if y'all have more tea on this one, I'd love to hear it. Comment below, send it to me, whatever, because I was like, yeah, this doesn't sound right at all. This gentleman's name was Justin Ogden. Now, I'm gonna read his family's statement that they gave, because this is really the most information that I could find so far in this. And I was just like, whoa, this is heavy. He died of a gunshot wound that they ruled as a suicide. None of it ever added up. He put his truck in the shop that morning to have a lift kit added. Also, his time of death was around 11 a.m. He was supposed to be at work and had been there that morning, but he wasn't found until 6 p.m. when his girlfriend got home. All I ever got from anyone at Fort Hood were lies and useless condolences. Something really bad is going on at that base, and it needs to be stopped. I've prayed every day since I put my son in the ground that they would be held accountable for the horrific way they are failing our children. No soldier left behind. Now, yeah, y'all, I mean, all this information here by the family, this doesn't sound like somebody who would want to take themselves out. Now, I've put a bunch of links for further reading, you know, for detectives' phone numbers, for each of these different cases and things of that nature. So check all that out. If you have an extra minute, do that. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and I'll talk to y'all later.